We are on the gravel easement road. We're headed north, so we're headed kind of, I guess, out of Hawks Roost toward the county road, but the property's on the right. Now this property, this is tract 17. This has frontage on this private gravel easement road on the north, and then it has direct frontage on Highway 14 on the south. So pretty interesting property. I'll pull up a little further and then we'll hop out and we'll take a look at this. All these tracts at Hawks Roost were recently logged. If you've seen any of the other videos, you've heard my little deal about that. Oftentimes we hang on to properties for a year or two after they've been logged. In this case, we decided to just put everything on the market as it is, reduce the price, and let some people kind of get a large property for less expensive, for much less than it would be after we held it for a year or two. After a property's been logged, it usually takes 1 or 2 years for, I'll say the most dramatic improvements happen within the first 1 to 2 years. When you've got the limbs rotting away, you've got the remaining trees really leafing out and starting to thrive. So this is the first winter after this property's been logged, so parts of it will look very rough. But then this spring, things will look better, and by the following spring, things will look dramatically better. So this is a chance to get a property, a large property in a great area. Looks like it lays well, and then it has frontage on the paved road and the gravel road for much less than you'd otherwise be paying. Let's hop out and take a look at this. So here on the north side, it looks like it starts off fairly level off the gravel road. Of course, the land's on the right. I can tell that it slopes down as you go south, and then I know by looking at the topo map that it slopes back up as you move toward the highway, toward the south end of the property. Quite a few medium trees remaining, a few large trees. This has a good amount of frontage here on the north end on this gravel road, and then it has quite a bit of frontage on the south end on Highway 14 as well. And this is pretty typical of a logged property. You have sections that were heavily logged and then sections that were not. As I look more toward the north, it looks like that section is more open, whereas here it really doesn't look too bad. We'll be doing a drone video as well, so you can take a look at that on the listing page. That is an awesome way to take a look at the entire property. Personally, my recommendation is if you're buying a property, you're out of state, do everything you can to see a drone video, because that is by far the best way to see the most recent full and honest representation of the property. So if your seller doesn't have a drone video, I'm not trying to knock anybody else, but if they don't have a drone video, ask them if they could please get one. I mean, you can get a usable drone for a couple $100. There's really no reason I can think of why someone would not want to get you a drone video of a property. No good reason anyway. So as we move to the south off the gravel road, it does start to slope down. When I looked at the topo map, it looked like there could be a really good layout for a large pond or a lake on this property. As it kind of slopes toward the center, if you put a dam in that center, there would be plenty of runoff to support, I would think, a pretty large pond or lake. So if you've been looking for a property with a good pond or a lake site, that can be hard to find, but this one, we're no pond experts or lake building experts. We've built a couple. Number one thing I guess you need is some runoff, and number two thing you need is to have some clay in the soil, and judging by what we've seen, you'll find some clay in the soil out here. So from what I've seen on this short little walking tour, part of the property was pretty heavily logged. Part is not as bad. Wouldn't take much to create a driveway and a building site on this one on the north end. I haven't seen the south end yet. We'll try to get some pictures of that for you, or check out the drone video. I'm sure we'll do a complete flyover of the property with the drone video. Good chance to get a very, very large property in a great area for less than we would generally sell it for. You can check us out at InstantAcres.com to see if this property is still available, and you can definitely email us at sales@InstantAcres.com. And we would love to answer any questions you have, and ultimately we'd love to work with you on this property or another property that we may have available. We're out here on the south side of the property, looking to the east. That's Highway 14 on the right, and the land, of course, is on the left side. I wanted to get out here and take a look and really check out this south end. It's got all this frontage on Highway 14, and looks like possibly some good access points. Let's check it out. I don't have the map with me, so I don't know the exact amount of frontage on Highway 14, but it's quite a bit. There you can see phone right there. It lays really nicely. It comes off the highway. It is a drop down, and I don't see an existing approach. Some parts are a little steeper than others. I mean, you could pull off and on this in a four-wheel drive truck. But ultimately, if you were going to access it every day, you'd probably want to do a more standard approach, which is a culvert and a couple loads of gravel, generally. I stopped on this part of the property right here because this was the most open, so I wanted to stop here and take a look. If you wanted to build on the south side, this could potentially be a really nice spot. Come on in and spend a day with the tractor or a little skid steer and kind of push these tops out of the way. And you could create a really large yard fairly quickly. Looking to the north, we've got more timber as we get up there, and then ultimately it rises up again on the north side where we've got that other private road, or that private road I should say. Some of the south side is more heavily wooded. You can see that over there. It obviously still, we are going into winter and we don't have many leaves left on the trees. And it is the first winter after the property was logged. So by spring and the spring after that, this will look vastly different. But this gives you a really good idea about how the land is situated. I think it's quite pretty. I think this, if you were to turn this into pasture or a yard, you just have a really rolling, beautiful rolling, picturesque feel to it. So frontage on the paved road, frontage on the private road, some views, some great sights, tons of deer out here. We've seen, I don't even know how many deer today, but we've seen a lot of deer today. We didn't see any turkey today, but there are definitely turkey out here. View off to the north. Nice large property. This is a great chance to get it for much cheaper than it will be in a year or two after it's had a little bit of growth. InstantAcres.com.